Okay, so we are live again for part two, and this will be a very short one, but I want to go super practical immediately because we were like discussing a lot of theory in the first part. Now I just want to jump into the business manager, look at a couple of things like the structure of business manager, all the tools, how to do a bit of reporting, how to create a campaign, ad sets, ads. So for some of you, this could be kind of super new. For some of you, could be something that you know already. But I want to dive into the interface mostly because it changes very often. So Facebook introduces new things, and sometimes you're not aware of what's happening, but the basics are a bit the same. So what you see here is the business manager. And to create one, you just go to business.facebook.com. You create a business manager. You create an ad account, and you associate a valid payment method. These are a bit the first steps. Then you will be welcomed by this kind of screen, and you go into the what is called Ads Manager, or now it's Adverts Manager actually. And you see you have tons of tools. There's literally a lot of things that nobody uses, and they are super like redundant, I would say. Biggest part of your time will be spent in the Adverts Manager. Then you will have some time in the Audiences tab or in the Events Manager tab and so forth, but most of the time will be in the Ads Manager. So let's quickly look into the Ads Manager. And you see on top, you have these three options, three tabs that are the campaigns, the ad sets, and the ads. So the structure of everything in Facebook ads is campaign, main container, assets, and ads. We will dive more into how to structure them, into assets with different budgets, with different sort of audiences and so forth, ads as well. But right now, let's just look a bit into the campaign creation and the interface, as we said already. So one thing that should already sort of come to your attention here is that you have this long list of things, and in this case it's the campaigns, and here you have some kind of values, right? Like the attribution setting, reach, view, frequency. All of these columns are you can customize. So you can change things. You can say, okay, I don't want to see this, I want to see that. You can create custom views. You can create even custom sort of custom measurements and other things. And you can export all this data into CSV, Excel files, and so forth. Let's dive into the creation of a campaign. So I go here. This recently changed. These colors are actually quite new. Before it was all blue. Now they introduced this green. Nobody knows why, but whatever. So when you create a new campaign, you have to choose an objective. You have plenty of them. And none of them are kind of useful. I mean, if you are in the same situation, so if you have a software or if you have an app that you're promoting, or a website or a book or a course or whatever, you're eventually interested in selling something. So you will always want to have conversions as a goal and sales as your main goal. This means that you should kind of ignore the awareness and traffic goals and go rather for the sales. There are also engagement ads. So you could get, for example, conversions through Messenger, Instagram, chats, and WhatsApp, and so forth. But in our case, we will probably have a structure that goes from ad to a landing page and then to a conversion, selling something. I'm not saying we won't use any other type of campaign or we will use any other kind of flow for conversions, but the most used and the most common type of flow will be something like this. And when you do a campaign, we will see it at the adset level, you might think of optimizing for sort of a smaller conversion, not just the sales. This could make a lot of sense when we are not having a lot of sales. What I mean is the pixel, Facebook needs to learn a lot about your campaign and learn a lot about what you eventually want to optimize for. If you don't have sales in this first phase, you might look into optimizing for sort of smaller conversions like add to cart, initiate checkout, or even landing page views. This will allow Facebook to learn more, but this has also a downside a little bit, because if you teach Facebook that your conversion is an initiate checkout, then they might find users that will just do the initiate checkout and not the whole conversion flow and not sales. So it's not like black and white here. We will work with these nuances and we will see in the next episodes. But so far, let's start a campaign with the sales objective, and let's go to the next step. So when you have a sales campaign, so you see we have a campaign level, an adset level, and an ad level. So let's quickly look at what campaign level means. So you can name the campaign, you can put a special category in case you're doing, for example, job ads or credit ads. You need to declare a special category. You can see here housing as well, social issues as well. Actually, with social issues or politics, you will need an authorization from the page and a disclaimer. So it's kind of a bit more complicated. But again, I don't think it's your case. Then you can choose, I'll turn off the catalog ads. We're not interested here. And this is an interesting one. So the advanced campaign budget before was called CBO, campaign budget optimization. This will distribute the budget among your assets in a way that Facebook thinks is better. So there are two types of campaigns: the CBO campaign, so where Facebook distributes the budget, and the ABO campaigns, where we decide which asset gets more budget. Again, for the very beginning, it's better to start with an ABO campaign. Also, when we will go for testing phases, we want to be in control of the budget that we spend across assets. So let's turn this off right now, and let's not do A/B test here. So we will basically turn everything off here and just go for our campaign. So when we click next, we go to the adset level. At the adset level, we need to specify what we are converting for. So and where the conversion is happening. In our case, let's say the conversion happens in the website, and what we want to achieve. You see here, I can do basically three things, actually four. I can optimize for conversion, whatever conversion event it is, or I can go for page views, link clicks, reach, and impressions. So it's 5. There's actually a new one that is the value of conversions. This account is not enabled for that. We can look into it in another account. So what this means is that I can go for something like link clicks. So I'm telling Facebook, look, bring me as many users as possible that will actually click on the link. This is never a good idea, because it will bring you a lot of clicks, yes, but you are not telling Facebook what you really want. So it could be an idea only if you want to check the CTR, the click-through rate of a specific ad, but I will not do that. So the minimum level of optimization should be the landing page view. So your user click on an ad, goes to the landing page, and the Facebook pixel records the landing page view. It means that the customer actually landed on the landing page, because it could be that they just click the link and then they bounce immediately, or there could be some bots or whatever. So you want at least a proof that the customer landed on your page. So the lowest you can go is the landing page view optimization. But what you should do is actually try to optimize already for the conversions for the purchase event. If you have a high value product. So you think it will be hard to get a lot of purchase events. You can get down a little bit and say, okay, I will just do the initiate checkout, or I can do the add to cart. You can even specify a custom conversion event. So for example, you want every visitors of a specific page. This could be also a good idea. We will look into those. So for now, I will just go for a maximized number of conversion. I'm not specifying any data set. Actually, I need to specify a data set. So I will specify my my data set here. That is my pixel, basically. And then I will specify a conversion event. In this case, I will say purchase. If you have already the value of your cost per result, so your basically CPA, your how much you want to spend for a user to convert, then you can do that. But this value usually comes with a lot of experience, a lot of data. Most advertisers don't have it in the very beginning, and I assume some of you will be beginners. So it's better not to put anything here. We will get there, how to calculate and so forth. Then the dynamic creative, it's something that we might enable, but you see is going away soon. We don't know exactly what will replace them in terms of the flow, but it's basically you throw all your stuff at Facebook and they just create combinations. So they will have something similar for sure, called like flexible ad format, but we will see. We will talk about this at the end level. Then you have the budget. As we discussed, every ad set has a budget, right? So you can choose the daily or the lifetime budget. In case you don't want to spend too much, you can say, okay, this asset will spend just $50 and that's it. But the budget is at the asset level. So you can have multiple assets with different budgets, and you can always scale or resize the budget of a specific ad set when you want. Then, of course, the start date, the end date of the campaign. You can have this budget schedule. Let's skip this for right now. And then we go to the audience controls. So we will discuss in a separate episode of the masterclass the all broad against interest, again, lookalikes, against whatever audience. Right now, I just want to show you the options that you can have here. You can target an existing audience. You can target a broad audience. You can choose customers in a specific location, a specific city, specific area, and so forth. Or you can leave to Facebook this part. We will, again, dive into this part a bit more. Then we also have the placements here, and the placements is something that is a bit controversial because there are some placements that historically don't perform or are not really a good place where to put your ads, at least on paper, because, for example, the right column, it's something that is not very good, or your ad might not be a very good fit for stories or reels. So you might think of excluding them. Or marketplace, because Facebook has plenty of placements. I can show you here. When you go for manual placements, you can see all of them. And there are some of them that maybe you didn't ever visited in your experience with the social network. So it could be the Facebook Marketplace, or you didn't even notice that there was a right column on Facebook, because in some with some devices, with some basically on the mobile, I don't think it even shows up. Or the Instagram Explorer, maybe you never use it, you were just in the feed or in the stories and so forth. So the only thing that I will like to literally tell you here and say, look, try to avoid this, is the audience network. So you see here you have the audience network, and basically the audience network is something outside Facebook that could be apps, that could be other websites that we don't really want into our thing. So Facebook is not stupid, so most of the time they won't show your ads there. So you might think, okay, I just leave it. But if you want a bit more in control, I will turn this off and leave the other ones on, actually. Even though, well, mostly because we don't know what is going to perform and what is not, if we don't have previous data about the campaign. There's also something else. You can see I'm here most of the time and I forget about where things are. And this is the attribution setting. We can open a chapter only for the attribution setting. And unfortunately, Facebook is not very reliable when it comes to attributing conversions. And most of the conversions are actually modeled, so they're not recorded really, because the availability of data might not be there. You probably heard about the iOS 14 thing, or the increasingly restrictions into privacy and into tracking that apps, websites have. So Facebook has less data, less opportunities to attribute a conversion to a campaign, but they model it, so they kind of guess it through data, through, they're not, it's not just a guess, of course, it's way more advanced than that, but is also not like 100% accurate. So advanced marketers, they use other tools. For common marketers like us, we can just rely more on an analytics tool, whatever it is, and track the ads, see what these ads are doing, and we can see the conversions happening on the analytics side, or if we have a store like Shopify and so forth, rely more on that, and then try to do the matching on that. We will look into it. So, I was forgetting actually about it. So what about the setting? I usually leave it as is, as a default, because you see, you can have the click-through as 1 day. You can have the view-through as none or a 1 day. What this means is that you are telling Facebook about your customer journey. So most conversions don't happen impulsively, don't happen immediately. So I would say I will leave the longest attribution window possible. In the past, there was like 28 days view or something like that, if I remember correctly. But now it's not possible anymore. So leave the longest conversion. The Facebook page part, and the ad level part, where you can actually create your ad. So it will be like, select your Facebook page. It will be set up your ad. So you can do a catalog ad. We don't need to do it now. Or here you can see you have your format. So it could be a single image video, a carousel, a collection, or this is this new flexible type of thing that Facebook introduced. And when it comes to the creative, then you will need to upload your picture, video, and created 3 main objects. So the primary text, the headline, and the description. Just let me put something here to show you the various parts in the preview, hopefully. And let me add an image here, for example, this one. So you probably know about the primary text. So the primary text goes here, and let me put actually here so we can identify all of them. So you can see here, we have the headline, the description, and the primary text, the call to action, the URL, and of course the image. So you might have seen article I wrote or some X post or whatever. But anyway, the structure usually for you should be, so the visual structure should be the goal of the visual structure should be to bring the user to the call to action, to bring to the call to action and click it. So you can you can do that with, of course, your picture. So your picture should be informative. We're not dealing with ads right now. We are not going into how to structure ads, but just a very quick introduction. So the first part, the first thing will be the image, because you see visually here you have more space. So the image is what stop the scroll, what drive the user, the first decision, the first impulse, the first reaction of the user. But eventually everything else should aim to bring the user to the call to action. So again, we are not going into the ad creation here. What I want to tell you is the textual part is not very important. It is, but as a support of the visual part. We will see how to use those in a different lesson, but for now, just be aware of the different parts. The destination is the URL where you're going to push your ad. Where you're going to drive your users, and hopefully with the conversion happening. The call to action, this is very important. This will be also where we will tackle the ads creation part. This will be important because we will need to choose the proper call to action related to the funnel phase where we are, and the type of ad that we have. So we cannot always go for the purchase, because customers don't know us and they want purchase immediately. But maybe we do some informative ads, some formative content, and we do the learn more call to action. Or we can have a subscribe, we can have a contact us, we can have a get offer, and so forth. So this is more important than what people think. And eventually you have also the tracking, where you need to make sure that your pixel, your data set, is tracking the events, and the URL parameters. This is also important because when you go to the analytics, you will have some data automatically sent by Facebook, but we want to be sure we have as much data as possible. You can build a URL parameter here with your campaign source, and you can even put, some predefined thing. The only thing that it's, some of them are important, but the only thing I really recommend is the ad name. So when you're testing, for example, ads, and you see some kind of time spent on the page and so forth, we want to associate that to the ad that triggered that. So that's the most important part. We need to know which ads are bringing the best traffic and hopefully the best conversions. So you can use this, or you can say you can specify your own ad name here. So could be anything, and of course this need to change for every ad. So this is how you create a campaign. So campaign level, adset level, and ads. You can have multiple ad set. You see now I'm duplicating an asset, and I can have two of them. And what we will see is this will allow us to test different things. For example, we can have an ad set for a country and another ad set for another country, or we can have an ad set with testing some creatives with a specific angle, and then another assets testing another angle, running against each other. We can have an ad with a broad audience, an ad set with a broad audience, and an ad set with an interest-based audience, or a lookalike, or whatever. So ad sets are our weapon to test things audience-wise, and sort of differentiate between things we want to test. I would say differentiate, rather cluster or categorize. So I will stop here for this episode. I will keep it very, very short. We just looked into the creation. Maybe just before I wrap up, I just want to show you here what it means another part of the business manager, just quickly, that is the reporting. So you see you have some columns here where you can see data like the CPC for link clicks, the CTR for link clicks, the clicks for all. By the way, the difference, it's very simple. So when a user clicks on a link, so on the call to action, it's a link click. When they click on the page, for example, they go to the page, so they don't go to the website, and that is considered a click all. For every information you see, you just over the name here, and you can learn more about what it is. So this can be, this is very interesting because we can have breakdowns. So for every campaign, we can break it down for country or placement or age and other things like, for example, delivery placement or time of the day. One very, very nice and interesting one is seeing where our ads were shown and understand the cost of a single placement. This could be a key. And we can decide at some point to focus on a specific placement because there's a lower CPM, or exclude one placement because the CPM is too high. So we can see here, for example, this campaign was shown Facebook Marketplace, only one impression, doesn't matter. I mean, this is a small campaign, or the feed, or the reels, and so forth. We can also see the country where the campaign was shown. And in my case, I had only one country per asset. So here would be Canada, of course, for this asset, and so forth. We can customize completely this part and create our own reporting view. So I can go here and say customize columns and put here everything I want. So for example, metrics for videos. This is a very interesting one. Video plays at a certain percentage. I mean, I don't have a video in this campaign, but we will look into them. Or and I can reorder them. So it's nice to have all the metrics for the clicks, for example, in a certain area, and then all the conversion in some other area. So you will feel comfortable and you will find your own setting here. But you can definitely customize this view, and you can always export this stuff as CSV, Excel, and do some analysis outside. Okay, I will wrap up for this second episode, actually, on the campaign creation, and I will see you in the next one. Thank you.